5 ways we could revive dinosaurs in 2025. The dream of bringing dinosaurs back to life has captured human imagination for decades, fueled by a mix of scientific curiosity, cultural fascination, and obviously Jurassic Park. Advances in biotechnology, genetics, and paleontology have brought us closer to understanding these ancient creatures than ever before in the history of man. Could 2025 be the year we take a bold step towards actually reviving them? Here are 5 imaginative yet plausible methods for bringing dinosaurs back to life, each kind of grounded in cutting-edge technology and a little bit of science. Yes, this video is speculative. Okay, we're kicking off the new year with some fun.
In the vastness of time in Earth's history, life emerged in many fantastical ways. Join us to discover from the Titanic to the tiny, and from high above to down below. Only here on the Dinosaur Channel. Welcome to the Dinoverse.
Welcome back to the Dinosaur Channel, and let's get into it. First is de-extinction through genetic resurrection. Genetic resurrection involves reconstructing dinosaur DNA using existing genetic material. The idea here is to piece together dinosaur genomes by studying ancient fossils, preserved remains, and their closest living relatives, birds. And quick, before we continue on with the list, please make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for the Dinosaur Channel. We're always trying to innovate here with our dinosaur content, and we'd really appreciate you supporting us by joining us. Become a member or support the channel by buying merchandise or even dropping us a donation. It really helps us continue making this awesome prehistoric content just for you. So, researchers have already extracted fragments of DNA from creatures like woolly mammoths and others from the Ice Age. With the leaps made in CRISPR and Cas9 gene editing, scientists could in fact potentially use similar techniques to edit genomes of modern-day birds such as chickens to introduce ancient traits. The process might look something like this. First, paleontologists identify key segments of genetic material preserved in fossils or amber-trapped remains. They compare these fragments with genomes of birds to map out what a dinosaur's full genetic code might have actually looked like. Then, CRISPR is employed to edit a bird's embryo, tweaking its development to express more dinosaur-like traits. In theory, this could lead to the birth of a creature with a dinosaur-like skeleton, scales, and even teeth. Now, if you're a dinosaur nerd like me, this might sound similar. You may have already heard this through Jack Horner, the paleontologist which the movie Jurassic Park is basically based on. He's actually attempting to do this right now with his Dino Chicken project. So yes, we edited the plot a little bit, but definitely keep your eyes peeled on Jack Horner and his Dino Chicken project, because who knows, we've been waiting for an update on this project for years now, and we're hoping with the right budget, he may actually be the one to be able to bring dinosaurs back to life. The question always remains though, would these creations be true dinosaurs or just highly modified birds? That's the big debate here, but there's no doubt that the thrill of seeing a creature like this would be undeniable. Paleontologists could also potentially use these modified animals as living windows into the past, learning about dinosaur behavior, metabolism, and social structures in ways that fossils can never reveal. We don't know that activating these genes would potentially turn on these social structures. They probably won't, including their behaviors, but who knows until we try. This technique does not come without its hurdles. Accurately mapping a dinosaur's genome would require bridging significant gaps in DNA sequences. Some traits might not even be expressed correctly, resulting in creatures that are even less dinosaur and more an experimental chimera. Despite these challenges, the excitement around the possibility of de-extinction remains a driving force behind these groundbreaking efforts, and the ramifications extend way beyond dinosaurs. Techniques developed through this process could revolutionize medicine, agriculture, and conservation biology. De-extinction might pave the way for reviving other extinct species or enhancing genetic resilience in endangered populations. The intertwining of scientific progress and ecological restoration underscores how dinosaur resurrection could be a stepping stone for solving present-day challenges, like potentially saving rhinoceroses or elephants. It's not just about bringing back a lost world, even though that's a huge bonus. It's about reshaping the future of life sciences. Alright, number 2 is reverse evolution in birds. This concept builds on the idea that birds are dinosaurs, or direct descendants of them. Over millions of years, evolutionary changes shaped dinosaurs into feathered creatures we know today. By identifying and switching off certain genetic markers in birds, scientists could potentially reverse some of these evolutionary traits. For example, modern birds lack teeth and have beaks instead. Researchers have already successfully induced teeth growing in chicken embryos by activating dormant genetic pathways. Similarly, the bird's long, bony tail might be reintroduced by manipulating certain developmental genes. The end result? A creature resembling a raptor or a small theropod dinosaur. Potentially. Now again, this theory might sound similar to Jack Horner's Dino Chicken project, because we kinda divided both. Jack Horner is actively trying to flick on and off genes, using different proteins and enzymes in the chicken's embryo. Again, Dino Chicken project seems to be the closest thing we have in the modern day to potentially reviving the dinosaur. So a little bit of influence taken here from Jack Horner. A reverse-engineered dinosaur would prove unparalleled insights into evolutionary mechanisms that shaped life on Earth. Scientists could study how specific traits evolved and study whether these traits have advantages or disadvantages in today's environment. By learning how to switch on ancestral traits, scientists could unlock tools for regenerative medicine, possibly helping humans recover lost functions or even heal injuries by activating similar dormant genes. The potential for medical breakthroughs could parallel the revolutionary discovery of stem cells, creating new avenues for treating diseases and injuries. Here's the thing, the ethical considerations here are enormous. Do we have the right to reverse engineer a creature into a form that it hasn't taken on in millions of years and probably doesn't have an ecological niche to fill? How far would these experiments go before crossing into dystopian Jurassic Park evil territory? While the science is super intriguing, we all want to know what this would look like. What happens if they just end up in cages? What happens if they just end up in a zoo, or worse, a Jurassic Park? I'm a huge dinosaur nerd, so I vote yes, but I understand that the implications of that could potentially be horrible. Furthermore, ensuring the welfare of these creatures and their ecological impact would require really careful planning and regulation. Number 3, cloning dinosaurs using preserved cells. Cloning is a science fiction staple, but it's also a field of real-world breakthroughs. If preserved dinosaur cells were ever discovered, say in frozen tundras or ambers, scientists could theoretically use these cells as the basis for cloning. This technique would involve extracting viable DNA from a well-preserved source, combining it with an egg cell from a closely related species like an emu and ostrich, and implanting it into a surrogate host. While fossilized remains rarely preserve soft tissue, some incredible finds like the discovery of collagen and soft tissue in a 68 million year old T-Rex bone hint that molecular traces might still exist. This, by the way, was also found by Jack Horner's team, specifically by paleontologist Mary Schweitzer. We're currently bottlenecked by the fact that DNA breaks down after only a few thousand years. We can't actually get dino DNA, but who knows if future advancements in science would allow us to extract usable genetic material from these remnants. The cloning process could potentially become a reality. The challenges are literally immense. This is like climbing Everest in the scientific world. DNA degrades so quickly over time, at least in a geological sense, that the odds of finding complete or unbroken strands are basically impossible. Researchers could fill in gaps with synthetic DNA or borrow segments from existing animals. The results might be a hybrid creature, part dinosaur and part modern-day species. It might not be a perfect recreation, but it would give us a glimpse into the prehistoric world. This sounds like the plot of Jurassic Park, doesn't it? But cloning dinosaurs also presents intriguing possibilities for conservation science. Techniques refined through dinosaur cloning might one day help revive recently extinct species. Whether or not we achieve a perfect dinosaur clone doesn't really matter at the end of the day if the ripple effects of these advances could reshape our understanding of extinction and even expand the limits of biological resilience by saving a bunch of creatures that currently exist with us. These advancements could also potentially redefine agriculture and food production, as creating genetically enhanced organisms may address global food security issues. While I have little faith in the human race to actually put this stuff towards good use, dinosaurs might potentially just steal the spotlight when it comes to the science benefits that could break into various sectors of humankind. Number 4. Artificial embryo synthesis. So instead of relying on natural or preserved genetic material, has anybody ever asked, why don't we just build dinosaurs from scratch? Artificial embryo synthesis could allow scientists to design entirely new organisms by combining engineered DNA strands in a lab. This is literally playing God. Here's how it would work. Researchers start by sequencing as much dinosaur DNA as possible from fossils and related species, which would basically amount to 0. Next, they would synthesize missing genetic sequences using advanced biotechnological tools. Once they'd complete this weird hybrid genome, they'd package it into an artificial nucleus and implant it into a synthetic egg. And they would incubate it in a bioreactor or a surrogate host. This approach would bypass some of those limitations of cloning and genetic editing, offering more control over the creature's traits. Want a dinosaur with feathers and scales? Sure. Prefer a velociraptor-sized herbivore that can roam freely in modern ecosystems? No problem. Artificial synthesis could turn dino creation into designer science, for better or worse. We may even be able to use current advancements in AI to help us solve and create these creatures. From a scientific standpoint, synthetic dinosaurs might not just stop at replication. Designers could integrate features that make these creatures more adaptable to the modern world today. Enhanced immune systems, resistance to certain environmental factors, being born with a bunch of vaccines, or even behavioral traits optimized for coexistence with humans. These advances would represent not just a step backward into prehistory, but a leap forward into a sort of hybrid future dinosaur reality. Maybe a look at the world if dinosaurs and humans actually coexisted. Number 5. We're gonna go on a wild trip on this one. Our creativity was really being stretched. This one's gonna be a bit speculative, okay? Advances in quantum physics and theoretical science might one day allow us to manipulate time at a molecular level. Imagine a technique that allows us to recover genetic material by observing past states of matter. In this very interesting scenario, scientists would use a quantum entanglement process to study molecular patterns frozen in time. By reading the genetic blueprints of a living dinosaur from millions of years ago, they could theoretically reconstruct its DNA in the present day. While the idea borders on science fiction, it isn't entirely outlandish. Like most science fiction, researchers are already experimenting with ways to observe historical events at the quantum level. Applying such techniques to paleontology could revolutionize our understanding of extinct life. The implications of time-traveling DNA recovery go way beyond dinosaurs. Imagine if we could resurrect other extinct species, or even studying ancient human ancestors in an unprecedented level of detail. This is probably a long shot for 2025, granted. Just imagine if we do pull it off somehow. This technique might one day allow scientists to simulate prehistoric ecosystems, even doing this in VR or other virtual environments, using DNA data to recreate not just dinosaurs, but their entire habitats. These simulated worlds could provide invaluable insights into ancient climate patterns, as well as ecosystem dynamics and species interactions, creating a living laboratory for an understanding of Earth's distant past. The fusion of quantum physics and biology, reviving dinosaurs in 2025 might sound like a bit of a long shot, but the science behind it is rapidly evolving, and it seems like there's enough people passionate about actually bringing these creatures back to life. From genetic resurrection and reverse evolution to cloning, artificial synthesis, and even quantum breakthroughs, each of these methods offer a tantalizing possibility and complex challenges. The road to bringing dinosaurs back will be fraught with technical, ethical, and ecological dilemmas. But the dream persists, fueled by humanity's relentless curiosity and ambition. And I truly believe that someday we may be living in a world where dinosaurs and human beings coexist. Whether these efforts will succeed or not, they'll undoubtedly push the boundaries of what's possible. Who knows, by 2025, we might be one step closer to walking amongst giants once more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next prehistoric adventure.